quorum, if I'm not mistaken. We're good?
We are, yes, sir.
All right. First item of business is to approve the minutes from August 17, 2022 MPO policy board meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a presentation from Mr. Lewis Cardinal about the Alabama Transportation Infrastructure Bank. And Dwayne and I talked a little bit about it, but I'm sure you got a lot more information than what he gave us. And just want to share with everybody in case you didn't know that Senator Orr was instrumental in getting this passed. So,
Mayor, thank you. I want to thank Dwayne for letting me be here today. And I'm Louis Cardinal with Thornton Ferris from Montgomery. We're an investment banking firm. And one of the areas that we've worked in over the years is ADM with the State Revolving Loan Fund program, which is a low interest rate loan program for ADM for water and sewer development. And because of our involvement over 25 years with that program, about, I guess, 8 or 9 years ago, we went across the street and talked to Mr. Cooper and Senator Orr about creating a similar type low interest rate loan program for transportation financing for cities and counties. Mr. Orr Senator Orr had a real nice vision for this program separately from ours, and we kind of came together, and he was real instrumental in sponsoring the legislation and getting it out and creating this option. And so what I'm here today is to tell you about the option. We rolled it out this year. The timing for rolling out this financing option is to coincide with the full implementation of the rebuild money. That was kind of part of the goal. Once rebuild got fully implemented and resources were there, we were able to roll this out in the same year in an effort to allow cities and counties to take advantage of that program. And basically, y'all, I'll be real brief in the setup and then give you a chance to answer your questions. We have a handout that summarizes the program. I won't go through every detail of that. I'll kind of go over it real quickly. But the first page, if you'll go to that, may be helpful, is a listing of the board of directors of the Infrastructure Bank. Mr. Cooper obviously is chairman, Senator Orr is on the board, and others, Young Boozer, treasurer, Bill Boozer, finance director, Liz Gilmore is chief of staff, and then Brooks Flynn is deputy chief of staff, and Representative Ledbetter, who will be the new speaker. They're on our board. You're familiar with the A-Trip program, and you're familiar with the Garvey program. That is the federal platform. That's where the state issues debt that is paid by federal funds. And those proceeds over the years, the A-Trip 2 and the Garvey bonds, are free money. And those proceeds are distributed to cities and counties. Those programs are developed on a formula. So what we wanted to do is to create a state platform, because that's the federal platform and you have to adhere to federal guidelines. We wanted to establish a state platform where you would not have federal guidelines in the procurement of the construction needs. So that's really the purpose of this. We have set up a program where you can go online and see the applications and the guidelines on the ALDOT's website. Jeff Hornsby, who's chief financial officer of DOT, kind of rides herds on all the applications working with us. Our firm does the credit work on the applications, and Jeff, in conjunction with Mr. Austin, Ed Austin, and his staff, do the technical review. But I want to stress today, this is a state platform with no federal money. And how do we get that? Well, what we've done is we've taken the motor registration fee monies out of the Road and Bridge Fund, the public road and bridge fund, and well as the diesel taxes. Those total about $275 million a year. So $250 million. And what we've done is we have established that as a guarantee against any loans that the bank does. The bank does individual bidding, publicly bidding of loans, sizes $5 million or up. And we ask for a pledge revenue stream from the participants. That an application could have gas tax, it could have lodging tax. It's pretty wide open on what a city and county can pledge, and I'll dig a little deeper in that. But the premise is you make a pledge for revenues to pay the loan back under the application, and then we back it with this guarantee, this $250 million guarantee. So the bottom line on all that is that you can get up to 40-year fixed rate money, but really 30-year fixed rate money at a AA rated cost of capital. The program is set up in a way that, under the guarantee program, that you can pretty much finance anything. You can finance right-of-way acquisitions, engineering costs, bridge construction. You can do local roads. You can do a dirt road and turn it into a better road. I mean, it's pretty much wide open on what the scope of our program will allow you to finance, because we're dealing with state resources. The other advantage of the program to cities and counties is we have counties in Alabama, there are 37 of them that are great counties, but they don't have a credit rating. They just have never been to the bond market. And so this is really the heart of who we're going after, to say the least, because if you don't have an existing rating, you don't have to go through that process and go to the public market. You can come to us and give us a pledge that you're comfortable with, gas tax pledges or whatever, and then we can get you the AA rated cost of capital without you having to do that on your own. The department is picking up most of the transaction costs related to the issuance of debt on your behalf. And it's going to be a nice vehicle for folks who don't readily access the bond market. The advantage we have found, though, we have done 2 loans this year. The first one was $5 million for Bullock County, 15-year fixed rate for Bullock County. They did $5 million for resurfacing projects in their county. Bullock County is a typical rural county in Alabama. Good folks, good credit. They pledged their rebuild. They pledged their 7-cent gas tax. Their local 7 cents is restricted to 1/3 that can be leveraged. The rebuild is restricted to half. We have our 4 and a 5, but in this particular case, Bullock pledged their 7 and their rebuild, which we noodled out with them to get the appropriate pledge. And we went to the market with the guarantee, and they were able to lock in 2.99 15-year fixed rate in April. So we did the second loan was $69 million for Jefferson County. Jefferson County, 11 years removed from bankruptcy. They have been to the bond market and issued GO debt in 2018. They're rated AA minus. They came in and took $69 million under the bid with the guarantee, and they locked into a rate of right at 3.9 fixed for 20 years. They did some bridge work as well as road work. And I'm not going to get in the weeds here, but we were extremely pleased with those bids, because we took those bids and looked at the spread to our cost of capital on the bid versus other comparable AA GO credits, not only in Alabama, but across Florida and Georgia, and we're trading right on top of them. So what that means is we're in a position where our program with the guarantee, the $250 million guarantee, when we publicly bid it in the national market, we're tracking a cost of capital close to what, Mayor, in all due respect, maybe, we can be on top of you, with your AA credit, or in the case of Birmingham or others. Huntsville is AAA, Dad, as you well know, but the point here is that we've been real pleased with what our paper is trading for in the market and the kind of rates we're getting, quite frankly, better than we thought we would get. So that's what that means is that if a AA city or a AA county who may on the face of it think they could go borrow on their own at a better cost of capital, and we welcome that. We're not trying to sell this, but if you have to give your full faith and credit, your general obligation pledge to get that AA rating and to get that cost of capital, if you come to the infrastructure bank, because of our guarantee, you don't have to give your GO pledge. You can give a sales tax or a lodging tax or something of that nature. And that does not require you to give your GO pledge, which in some cases may be meaningful to folks and may not, because road debt goes against your constitutional debt limit. But most cities and counties have a lot of constitutional debt limit. But it's an added advantage to the program if for some reason you're a city and your constitutional debt limit, which we're talking to several right now, let's say is $9 million. Okay, that's all they have on their constitutional debt limit. There's a way you can do what is called a 775, which can make the road an economic development project, and you can get more constitutional debt limit. But just for the sake of argument, if you've got a city in that particular case, they may want to come to the infrastructure bank and get our cost of capital, which would be equal to what they could do on the GO to avoid it going against their constitutional debt limit. So there are some structural things that are advantageous to what we're doing. We take over all responsibility for loan. Regions Bank is the trustee of all the loans and the payments. They work with the cities when we close to do all the paperwork. So it's a self-contained type of program. What we have found, though, is our minimum is $5 million, which we rolled out in the initial statute, and we probably will want Mr. Cooper and the board to revisit that in January or February before the legislative session starts in March, because we may want to maybe make a recommendation that we go to a minimum of 2.5. People are telling us 2.5 is kind of easy for them to cobble together projects. The minimum is $5 million. You can cobble together multiple projects, but we're hearing that that's maybe a heavy lift for some rural counties that we're talking to and some smaller cities. What we have here, I think, is a nice option. It's all it is. We're not trying to sell it. We're just trying to get it out and let everybody know what the option is. Obviously, free money is better than borrowing, but we all know that the era that we're living in now with ARPA and all the free money that's coming, one day that's gonna end. And so programs like this probably will hopefully be a nice resource for folks if they have to borrow money. You don't want to borrow money. That's the last thing you want to do. But at times you have to accelerate projects. So the goal here is to accelerate projects. Specifically, too, we can do joint projects. Cities and counties could come together. Like the county could make an application for a bridge that communities, cities, and the county could all benefit. And we could work with you and put together a cooperative agreement where the county makes the application, but the other cities that are part of the project can help amortize the debt on the infrastructure bank's books. That's kind of thrown a lot out at you, but that's kind of the overview, the big overview of the program. For our finish, I'll talk about MPOs. MPOs, as you know, legally you can borrow on MPOs. MPOs are organizations, informational organizations established by the governor. But your obligation authority that you get, I know it's about, as Tom Dwayne's about $2 million. That if it ever grew one day to be, significantly higher, you could, under our program, take that authority, that federal money, and pay off an infrastructure bank loan. Most of our MPOs don't have a lot of obligated authority, so it'd be not realistic to pick one project, let's say a $7 million project, which would require $1 million a year for 15 years. You're not going to want to allocate $1 million a year for 15 years for one project to pay debt to the infrastructure bank. That's not something that makes sense. Mobile gets 10 million, but generally we did want to let you know that there is the ability to take the federal obligated authority proceeds that you get and have a member authority, a member of the MPO, make application, and you can use the federal money to pay that debt off. That could hopefully be more realistic down the road if you get more resources. But right now, we just want to let you know that that's an option related to us. We're looking at a couple other things that the board has not taken up. Add flexibility. We're talking to a lot of cities and counties right now that are fixing to put in an application. So we're new. We just came out. Tuscaloosa Road Commission. I don't know y'all familiar with what they're doing in Tuscaloosa. They formed a road commission with a sales tax to coordinate road work with the city of Tuscaloosa, Northport, and the county. They have made an application. We're going to fund a $35 million loan for them next year, which is a joint project with DOT on a South 69 interchange project there that they're doing. So we're, the program has the ability to do matching for federal money, matching for state projects, and obviously matching for anything that you get with DOT that you need to finish up with. matching anything you may get through the new A-Trip rebuild program. They're putting out $2 million a year for projects if you finish up. So that's one of the reasons why we're looking at possibly lowering our minimum down to 2.5. So I was too long, Mayor, but you know, yeah, I only get one shot at you, so I'm getting it all in. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anybody have
I have
questions?
a question.
Yes.
On your administrative costs compared to going to the bond market, and you kind of mentioned are less, or are they competitive? It's very expensive administrative costs when we borrow.
Well, that's a great question. We have a 5 basis points administrative fee, annual fee. And 5 basis points, 100 basis points is 1%. So 5 basis points is quite small. That basis points, which is in the handout here, that's used not necessarily for the department to recoup their rating fees, costs, and all the transaction costs, but it's really used to build capital in the program going forward. That's what we did with the ABM SRF program 25 years ago. They have recurring loan payments coming in, and they use some of that to help build the capital in the program. Our hope is we're at the beginning stages of this program. A lot's going to change really after we're all gone, and there'll be more capital sources coming to this platform than what we have now. But that, to answer your question, that fee's there. But our transaction costs are pretty much comparable, if not less, than a bond issue. We're not going to put ourselves out that we're less, but our fees for legal, FA, trustee, rating, and all that are comparable. Mr. Cooper is paying all the trustee fees, all the rating fees, all the credit enhancement fees. So really the only cost that the applicant makes is the 5 basis points plus a legal fee to close it and our fee to do the credit work to get them approved. And we lay all that out before you even make a decision. So just because you put an application in doesn't mean you're obligated to fund with the bank. It gives us an opportunity to work the credit side and the technical side, and then we will report back to you the full cost and all the fee component, et cetera, and then you can make a determination if that's the best way for you to go. And if you can go a better way and get it done through the bond market or get other resources, that's great. We want you to do that.
And is there, you mentioned at the beginning, there's a limited amount of capital in this fund, and what is that?
That's another great question that we don't really like to articulate too much, but our capacity is close to $3 billion.
Okay.
But but that's all theoretically based on credit,
Yeah.
as you can imagine. We've got a lot of capacity.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can't do tremendous projects like you're hearing about down in Mobile and places like that. But we have enough capital with this $275 million guarantee that we can do a lot of work to help folks, in our time right now. So that's a real plus that we have there. It's not like you come to us and, like a lot of programs, we got to figure out, do we have the capacity? We got the capacity.
You don't have to get in line.
No, yeah, and that's another question. But we can generally do a loan within 90 days. I mean, you get an application in and you get it approved by Ed Austin and his group, and they look at you do all your engineering. They just want to review it and make sure, they understand what you're doing. It's not crossing some kind of project that they're doing. Ed and them, Curtis and all their group are great to work with. They just want to look at it, but you're responsible for your engineering and everything. They'll help, but they may need to be compensated for their time. But it's really your program. It's your loan, and so that gives you the flexibility to move as quickly as you can.
Is there any down payment from the city? What do we have to bring to the table? Is there a certain amount of cash?
You're
Okay.
just pledging your tax.
You just pledge
Your tax revenue.
agreed tax.
That's just it. Okay.
Yeah. So like on a typical city, which we're talking to now, one comparable size, we're looking at cobbling together lodging tax, or maybe, you don't get a lot of rebuild,
Right.
but we'll just cobble together what you want. And that's the real beauty of this. Standard & Poor's, who rates the bank, they're not looking to your repayment for paying the debt. Where are they looking at? They're looking at the guarantee to pay it back. So they're giving us a lot of flexibility on what type of pledges local cities and counties can put in. And that gives you flexibility, not having to tie up your geo credit.
Mr. Ladner is our financial expert. He has the most.
I could tell, Mayor, I could tell. So great questions. And the effort here is just to get it out, and we'll work with anybody that's interested and help through the process. And the transparency's here, and we're just offering what we think is a nice option.
It's an option for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Cobbling together capital, as you well know, Mayor, is a hard process. And so,
Sure.
But I think the department and the board is real supportive of this, and I think it'll complement, like we said earlier, that the federal program on the other platform, and try to go. If you take a loan from us and it matches a federal project or money, you still have to adhere to the federal guidelines. But our application, and you're taking money for us, doesn't ratchet up any kind of requirements. It kind of mirrors the federal requirements you have ongoing with that project.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all letting me be here today. Y'all have a great Christmas.
Likewise.
Merry Christmas.
I hope Santa Claus is. Thank you. I'll take care of it. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. Good seeing
We will buy it. Let's see, what was item number 4? Election of officers for FY 2023. We need to elect the chairman and a vice chairman.
Move to nominate Mayor Randy Garrison as chairman.
Any more nominations?
Do you want to do it?
Dwayne didn't bite either.
I don't know about that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Second line, we need to nominations for a vice chairman.
Chairman Long's not here. Let's nominate him.
That's already it.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All right. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on. We got several of these, so. Let's see, item number 5 is adopt resolution 2301 to approve the Aldott Bridge and pavement performance target for the upcoming 4-year period.
Yes, these are required under the transportation bill that was passed in 2021. We did the PM1s and PM3s and the transit earlier this year. I hope to get on the schedule to where we can all get them on one resolution and do them all at one time, but sometimes Aldott releases the numbers at different times of the year or different years. These are the numbers for the next 4 years, and basically it's percentages that they would like to be at or over for payment on the roadways, state roadways, and bridges, including the National Highway System roadways, which in here we have 36, the Beltline 24, and 20 on all NHS roadways. So this is a requirement on the performance measures, and the MPO adopted a resolution in previous years that basically stated that we would follow what Aldott gives to us, because we don't have the means to keep up with all of the performance measures in-house.
All right, you heard Dwayne's explanation. We have a motion to approve resolution 2301.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 23 carries. Item number 6, adopt resolution 2302 to amend the FY 2020-2023 TIP to add the following project. The project is emergency side repair on State Road 24 at MP 66.
And it's milepost 66. This is the slide that's on, happened on 24, State Route 24, going up Trinity Mountain. Had a slide, and actually it's been down to one lane for what, 3-4 months probably. Aldot come in with emergency repair funds, and they're actually working on the slide now. So hopefully it'll be done before too long, till we can get back to 2 lanes coming through.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, I believe this relates to Morgan County. Adopt resolution 2303 to amend the FY 2020-2023 TIP to add the following project: resurfacing on State Road 36 and New Cut Road from mile point 16.2 to State Road 3, US 31.
This is another state project. Actually, Judd informed me this project is out to bid tomorrow. These are estimated costs, which is the estimate increase. So I guess we'll find out tomorrow where it bids. Hopefully it'll come in close to this $10 million mark. And if it's less than that or a little bit more than that, you'll probably see a resolution on the next MPO meeting to increase or to adjust whatever the bid comes in tomorrow.
Question? We have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 2303 is adopted. Item number 8, a resolution 2304 to amend the FY 2020-2023 TIP to add the following projects: reconstruction of County Road 684 Church Street from Silver Road to Riverview Avenue in the city of Decatur.
This is an MPO project. Actually, the council approved their cost share on this at a previous meeting a few weeks ago. This project, the utilities was combined into the construction phase. There was a large water pipe, large water main underneath that roadway. That cost actually was about $325,000 to replace that pipe. That utility phase was rolled into this. When the bids come back, it bid for the $2,329,329.17. As I stated, MPO will pick up 80% of the cost increase, with the city picking up to 20%.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 2304 carries. Item number 9, adopt resolution 2305 to amend the FY 2020-2023 TIP to fund the following projects: the bridge replacement, what BNIS is, so you'll have to tell me.
Yeah, it's just a Ben's number.
All right.
Bridge identification.
Big pardon?
Bridge identification.
Okay. Let me know. Over Norfolk Southern Railway.
Yeah, this project's increased on the utility phase. It's an estimated increase on the utility phase. We won't know exactly what the cost is until the project is authorized and bid. But this project's underway. The 2 bridges are actually north of the river, across the railroad tracks on 31, going across to Calhoun. And the construction phase is also in the TIP to be completed as well.
Okay. You've heard Dwayne's explanation. We have a motion to approve resolution 2305.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second, I have a question. When do we expect the project to begin?
Construction's actually scheduled for fall of 23. That's going to be dependent upon utility relocation and right of way costs too.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 2305 carries. Item number 10, adopt resolution 2306 to amend the FY 2023 TIP to add funding to the following project: resurfacing on North Seneca Drive from Old Highway 24 to State Road 20 in the town of Trinity. For engineering and construction.
Yeah, this is actually an MPO project. It's completed. The preliminary engineering increased to 16,000. We had 3,000 in the budget for that, so we are adding 13,000 to the P budget, which the MPO will pick up 80% and the town will pick up to 20. The resurfacing project, construction project actually was increased by $2,500. MPO will pick up 80% of that, and the city will pick up to 20%. Talked to Mayor Goodwin earlier today. He's fine with that. The city's fine with that and approves the changes.
So moved.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, the next one, we're deleting something, we're putting it back in, so don't get, we're not taking something away from somebody. So, resolution 2307 is to amend the TIP to delete the following projects. There are 3 resurfacing projects in the city of Priceville. You know, so it's the city, so I got it right there. The city of Priceville, but we're gonna turn around in the next resolution and put them together as one project.
Reason why we're deleting them out of the system is when you put them in the system, if we don't delete them, there'll be 3 projects. It basically just sits there forever that no funding's to. Reason why we're combining the projects is we think that it'll cut some costs for the city of Priceville to combine all 3 projects together to where they can all bid together. And that's the reason why we're putting them all together. But we need to delete them out of the TIP. And then we're gonna add one right after we delete it.
Motion. Have a motion, have a second? Second. Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor of approving resolution 2307? Any opposed? Motion carried. Now, we're gonna combine those back together. It'll be, adopt resolution 2308 to amend the 2023 TIP to add the following projects. It's resurfacing on the following roadways: Bethel Road from Linwood Circle to Kimberly Street, Case Springs Road from Bethel Road to Sunset Acres Road, and Skidmore Road from State Road 67 to Case Springs Road. And basically, it's putting it all in one project.
Yes.
So
And
moved.
Second.
You thinking?
yeah, once we get it, we'll get a project number. Judd and I put it in the system when we figure out the project description because we can't use various roads anymore. So we'll do that and we'll get a project number assigned to it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 2308 is passed. Item 13, adopt resolution 2309, awarding the contract for the Interstate 65 Bethel Road quarter study to Garver.
Yeah, this project, as you know, y'all approved it in the UPWP for this fiscal year. Everybody's paid to match. The match is between the city of Priceville, the city of Hartsville, and the Morgan County Commission. It's for $100,000 with the MPO paying carryover PL funds of $80,000, and the city split the $20,000 match between them. We use the ALDOT consultant selection list to select Garver. Garver's familiar with the area. They've done studies in that area out there before. So I hope to have them on board soon. I think we're already working on the contract. So we'll have them on board soon and we'll get to work.
We get a Christmas discount.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, you heard Dwayne's information. Adopt resolution 2309. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 2309 carries. Do we have any new business to be brought before the board?
No, sir.
All right. At this time, we'll see if Mr. Vincent would like to share any information with us.
Just let me touch base on the 3 state projects we have. We've had some activity out on the Tennessee River Bridge on the interstate. We had a consultant firm do an investigation on the bridge and give us some recommendations of some maintenance items that need to be done. We're rolling that all into a set of plans right now and trying to get a project together that we hope to let sometime this summer. And then the mayor was asking about the 2 bridges on 31. One of those bridges has been a project for quite some time, and then with all the work and all and the aging of the other bridge, we're looking at the 2 bridges there. Our design is about 60 to 70% complete there, and we're looking at letting those in the fall of 23. And then down on I-65, bridges down there at Lakon, we've got a project where we're going to replace bridges there. And we're just now getting the PE authorized and beginning the actual design work on it. And that will probably be sometime in 2025 where we get the contract. That's a much needed project. As y'all well know, we have a lot of accidents at that location. We've had to close the interstate numerous times to make repairs to those bridges. And every time we do, it impacts Hartselle, Decatur, everybody along the alternate routes. And we feel like if we can get those bridges replaced and maybe the alignment corrected a little bit, that'll be a much safer interstate segment. So we're glad to finally get that kicked off. And again, that's going to be some time out, but we are working on completing plans right now. So just 3 state projects. I'll let Judd touch on any of the others if he'd like.
On our MPO funded projects in Hartselle, we've got the US 31 and Vaughn Bridge Road coming up. Design, Garber's got about 90% complete, and I know Hartselle's purchasing a few tracks of right of way. The utilities, we're going to attempt to put those in the actual roadway contracts, do it all at once, and hopefully that would let next spring, late spring. Also on the west side of Morgan County on West Morgan Road over Baker's Creek, we've got a culvert replacement job. It's about 60% complete on design. Morgan County's purchasing a few tracks of right of way. In the last meeting, Greg Bowley told us I think they had 2 or 3 tracks left to go on that. So once they get those bought, we can go ahead and get the utilities and move on to letting that project. Also in Hartselle, we've got the State Route 36 Lando Kane Road intersection there right near Cracker Barrel. And that one is in the preliminary design phase. We're just kicking that one off. Priceful, we've got the 3 research jobs we just mentioned that we're dropping back into one. So we're getting that going in the preliminary stages. Moving on to our sidewalk, the local sidewalk tap projects. Hartselle's got the downtown streetscape. That one, it should be getting close to wrapped up in design, and hopefully we can let that locally soon. And Decatur's got the 6th Street sidewalks that are associated with that larger project there on 6th Street. We received our PS&E plans for review, so hope we can have that review soon. Priceful, we're glad to see just got awarded a new project there on Upper River Road and Bethel Road. So that was good to see. So that's obviously in the kickoff stage. And Mr. Vincent mentioned our 3 large bridge jobs on the state system. Also coming up, Dwayne mentioned tomorrow, we've got the Hartselle resurfacing job on 36. And that goes from 31 back west, and it left tomorrow. They probably won't fire up, actual construction until later on in the spring, get past the rough winter months for the contractor. But that'll be hopefully going next spring. Some other jobs we've got under construction, our Church Street job in Decatur, led in September, and Rogers Group got that one. And we just got the notice to proceed last week. So hopefully we can get the pre-con kickoff meeting going get that going too. One of the kickers with that is it's got the ductile line, water line, and there's a really large procurement, several month procurement delay on those historically. So I'm not sure how soon that might slow things up a little bit on that one. Our Hartsville A-Trip 2 job, the US 31 median lighting job, it was awarded to Wiregrass here, and we had a kickoff meeting last month. And the contractor at that meeting, the contractor said they would start, I think, February, when they were going to start turning dirt. Our belt line, we've got intersections there on Sandlin and Central Parkway. Those are about 25% complete. Should be wrapping up, sometime in the next spring, late spring, hopefully. Our US 31 Red Bank Road intersection modification there, that was pretty much completed, all except for a few punch list items. We've got a railroad crossing upgrade in Hartsville at Tabernacle Road. That one, the railroad does the actual construction on that. I've been informed that they've got the foundations and the conduit laid. Now they just got to put up the gates and bells and lights. That'll be finished soon. And we had that emergency slide job in Trinity that Dwayne was talking about on 24. They're putting in a soldier pile retaining wall. It's a little bit of a fancier wall than just our basic wall. And supposedly I've heard they've got the soldier piles all installed, drilled, completed. Now they just got to put the lagging in and then get the backfill. And hoping those next phases should go pretty smoothly. Get that done, wrapped up soon. And I think that concludes all the projects I had on my list.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Anything?
Yeah. Let's see, sometime this month, the Census Department will be putting out the new urbanized areas for 2020 is what they told us. Sometimes what they tell us and what they do is two different things, but hopefully we'll have that in December. Why is that important? Because we receive our federal funding based off of their numbers. They're doing things a little different this time. In the past, they've used population based and they've used the criteria to do that. Our numbers hovered right around a little bit over 70,000 at the last census, and that's an urbanized area. That's not including, that's just what they determined urbanized. This time they're using, like I said, housing units, so them numbers could be a little less, they could be a little more. They went to the housing units because they said that they could update them mid-years instead of waiting 2 years. But we'll wait and see what our numbers look like when they come out. Like I said, we'll check them. I checked them in GIS and we don't have everything that we need to check them, but it was pretty close to the same numbers that we have now. So we'll, once we get them, hopefully by the next MPO meeting, we can show that to you and let you kind of know how all the numbers work, because we do, like I said, we get our funding based off of them numbers. The other thing is, if you look on our agendas, we've got, City of Hartsville's got 2 projects. Hartsville's got 1 project now. Decatur's got a project. Morgan County's got a project. Trinity just finished up a project. And if you notice, all these projects has been going up in price, which is fine. We have obligated money in there to cover that. But what it does is these projects get stacked. It's kind of like a bridge out there. The more traffic you add to it, the slower it gets. We only have so much obligation authority each year, and that's around $2 million. If we go over that, really the state can give us future, not take from our future obligated money to fund projects, but that's not a guarantee. So guess what I'm saying? We have money, but we got a lot of projects in the hopper for this fiscal year, and some of them may move to 24 to get them done. So So if you're having a little bit of problem getting them authorized, it's because of the obligation authority. We have a lot of projects right now in the hopper that's a good bit. I mean, we got $2 million in price, but we got probably another easy $2.5 million here. We got 2.5 million in caters. So all that adds up. Then projects will get done, but they may not get done in all one fiscal year. We'll try to do what we can to get them authorized. But if we can't get them authorized all at one time, they should be out for the next fiscal year. This year is the TIP year. In other words, we have to do new TIPs. So UTIP will cover 23, 24, 25. Well, it covers 24, 25, 26, and 27. It's a 4-year plan. If you notice, we don't have a whole lot of projects in them outer years, 26 or 27. I'm gonna get with some of y'all to try to put some projects in them latter years. We don't need to stack a whole lot of projects in here because we've got projects right now that's in here that we know is gonna overrun. Okay, because we're already having overruns. And we gotta make sure we got enough money to do all them projects, because when we add a project, it can move inside that TIP, but if you move it outside the TIP, it's you either have to delete it or do it. And we don't want to have to do that. But some of the smaller projects that we've been looking at, intersection projects and stuff, that's $500,000 or so. Them projects now is $1 million or over, because the county project that we just mentioned, I was informed earlier today that the utilities is going to go up a good bit because they found some utilities that have to be moved. Do you know that beforehand? Sometimes you may, sometimes you don't, just like on the church street, you know, it's hard to tell whether you gotta move that or not, but if you have to move them, that price escalates. So we always try to be reserved in the MPO, because I learned a long time ago, if you put too many projects in there, you don't have the money to do them. Well, it's not good. It's best to save some, because all these projects are going to run over. And I know some other MPOs have got to buy because they got too many projects. They got more projects than they got money to do. So just kind of be aware of that. And if we see a project's not moving the way we need it to move, just let me know, and we'll try to see what we can do to move it through the system. The other thing, the bridge study, the council approved the consultant for the bridge study. There's actually TTL along with Jacobs Engineering and Pew Wright had won the bid, or won the request for qualifications to do the study. They are doing the contracts now. Hopefully that contract will be to us, and hopefully we can get it on the council agenda the 27th. I think you'll have a meeting. That's what we're shooting for, and that's what I told them. But it's a lot of moving parts when you got 3 consultants and all that trying to get the contract. So hopefully by December 27th, that'll be on the agenda to select them, and then they can get started with that.
Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
you mind mentioning that that's just more than just a bridge study?
It is.
Origin and destination
It is.
study, traffic modeling. There's a lot to that.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. When we did the scope, you got origin destination, which is telling where people are coming from, where they're going to. Some little bit of environmental work to find out exactly where you can land the bridge on both sides of the river. Traffic data, which we run the traffic travel demand model here. A lot of that data will come out of our office, but they'll take and they'll do what they need to do to it. I know last time we did one, we combined our model, Huntsville's model, Sho's model, and then they filled in the places that didn't have a model to try to predict traffic and where it was going to go. You will have some alignments that come out of this. You'll probably have a preferred alignment, and then you'll have a couple of others. And you'll have a lot of public involvement and stakeholder meetings. And stakeholders includes, there's like 13 different agencies that the stakeholders will be involved in this. So it's quite in depth. City received a grant from ARC for $1 million The city put in another $1 million for that grant, so this grant is $2 million. And very important that we get this done because the bridge continues to get worse every day. So we'll be kind of managing the study from the MPO side. But I'm pretty sure all of y'all is gonna have some kind of role as stakeholders in this project.
You think it's a 12-month study?
We got 12 months down on the study, so this first phase would be 12 months.
We want to be gathering a regional team along the way to be able to make sure that we've got some support because this impacts so many communities.
As part of that study, do they look regionally across the southeast
It probably wouldn't look,
as the impact? Because when we want to fund the bridge, which is not going to be $2 million, we probably have to show the impact it makes, not regionally across North Alabama, but
I think in the next phase, when you go to trying to apply for infra grants, you're gonna have a cost benefit analysis done during that phase.
more studies.
Yeah, that's a big, yeah.
1 year, 45 days.
I told Dwayne it took 1 year and 45 days to build the Empire State Building. Takes us that long to build a bathroom.
But the next phase would be a detailed environmental documented design, and that cost benefit analysis would have to be done for that funding phase of that. When the raise grant was done, which it was billed at that time for the interchange north of the river, that cost benefit had to be done to apply for that grant.
It's part of the process.
Plant trees you won't sit under the shade of. Anybody else have anything? Merry Christmas.
You know, it really sounds like just what y'all read off here as far as projects. A lot going on around here. Thank you.
A lot of good things happening in North Alabama.
And we get a lot of support out of Mr. Vincent and Curry. We appreciate it. Mr. Vincent and Judd, I'm sorry. Nobody's gonna.
You see one today?
All right.